Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hardly Heroes. How are you doing today, my two favorite people in the world?
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's a big one.
Maybe you misspoke on that one.
Doing good. Had a great Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas was good. Yeah.
Nice.
Peach is sick again, so that sucks.
Oh, man. I'm just getting over something. I spent a fifth of my
sick.
quarter break sick.
Yeah.
My wife spent half her Christmas break sick. Yeah, it's everywhere.
It's going around, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's winter. It's going around.
From Canada to Colorado to fucking Britain.
But, Nick, you're
Yes.
gonna be proud of me, buddy.
Oh, okay.
You know what I did? The very first thing I did on New Year's Day,
No?
I went and I bought an electric kettle.
Oh, very
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And to think we thought there was no hope for the Americans. Look at you all buying kettles now. The amount of tea you drink, though, Neil, it does kind of make your life a lot easier.
Well, the thing is, I haven't been drinking as much tea as I like. And then when we moved to this new place, it came with a microwave. I haven't had a microwave in years, and I know it's frustrating, but we heat our water in our mugs in our microwave. But sometimes the temperature is off. You know, this mug is thicker and has a different type of coating, and so it's irregular. And I found myself enjoying having a microwave so I could make more tea. But then, like, you know, the inaccuracy of heating a mug in a microwave got frustrating.
Different teas need different water temps too.
Sure, but I'm not that
Take
fancy.
the science out of it. It doesn't seem right to heat up water for tea in a microwave. I feel like most English people don't know that that's a thing in America, and actually, it's quite disgusting and off-putting.
I'm sorry. We're using electromagnetic radiation to heat our water. It's effective. It's efficient. It's a great plan. It's fantastic.
Fucking science, baby.
I'm sure it's fine. It doesn't feel right though, because I know some people will often warm up a cup of tea in the microwave. You know, if you let it go cold, warm up in the microwave, but that's frowned upon. It's not right.
Who would let it go cold? Just drink it cold.
Yeah, cold tea's not great.
Yeah,
I'm not really with you on that one. It's okay. Depends on the tea, maybe, but like breakfast tea with milk, I don't know. It's weird.
All right.
Well,
I just found this out today.
Oh wait, I'm almost done. Have you seen this XKCD meme? Joke, comic. I put it in our Hardly Heroes chat.
Okay.
This is one of the things that really pushed me over the edge.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially the midway point of making the Brits angriest.
At least it's legitimately made in that case, though.
Right. But I think the value that you get out of an electric tea kettle is disproportionate to the amount of counter space it takes up. It's it's amazing, you know.
100% as well. And, you know, next time you're making pasta, boil the water in the kettle before you put it on the hob, and it'll be 10 times faster than waiting for it to come to the boil. I've got a really good induction stove, so I don't do that anymore, but I used to do that.
I was making pasta a couple nights ago, and I was like, I should have just boiled it in the kettle first. Well, not a couple nights ago, last night, yeah.
You know, when you're microwaving the tea, do you just microwave the mug of water and then add the tea bag when the water's hot, or do you put the tea bag in the cold water and then microwave the whole thing? No,
yeah.
maybe that's where the disgust lies. There's something wrong there. Okay, cool.
Would the most angry be the Boston Harbor where the tea was made?
Oh, just making it with salt water.
It's just so well, yeah. That's just sad, isn't it? Yeah. All our lovely tea wasted.
Bit of a Boston Tea Party joke.
After we spent all that time getting it over to you as well. And you just throw it in the harbor. It's ungrateful.
Well, you shouldn't tax the tea.
Yeah. Well, I was watching a video about this. At the time, legislatively or by the law, America was just part of England. So really, you guys should have had an MP. You know, at least one MP. You should have had some MPs.
Yeah.
And actually, when they were complaining about it, they were right. Like, it would have been so much easier. I wonder what would have happened if they'd just been like, all right, fair enough, you guys. Like, we'll split you up. You can have 20 MPs.
The British Empire would have continued.
Yeah, maybe.
Yes, forever.
It would have been crazy.
Yeah.
It would have been really good.
I'm increasingly of the opinion, though, that America and England are still kind of the same country. Like, I know there's a lot of difference, but really, we share so much politically and legally and, you know, you guys did kind of come from us. Or from Britain. So I think it's kind of Canada as well, and Australia, and New Zealand, It's all kind of the same country, really, isn't it? It's not really. There's more similarities than differences.
We're moving apart, and then we started to move back together again with the digital age. But I think there are enough fundamental things that are slowly shifting us to other areas. I actually see United States, Canada, and Australia being a lot closer connected because they're all melting pots, like cultural and racial melting pots. So we got a lot of stuff that we're joining on.
Okay.
And you know what?
Think of it as children.
You know,
yeah, it's like the three children.
Yeah.
If you ever want England to become a state, we'd be happy to include you as the 51st state.
Oh God, yeah, I know. Well, we've had this conversation before.
Canada first.
We deserve more than one state, I think, for sure.
England gets a state. Wales gets a state.
Well, I don't think Wales can justify us being a state on its own. No way. Like.
That's like Puerto Rico. Just be like a territory.
By population, like if Wales was a state, England would probably be like 20.
Well,
I'm not saying it should be, but I think maybe England would be like 3 or 4. And
what's
maybe
the population of England.
I'm about to look it up.
60 million.
57
million.
No,
57 million. Okay. And it would be the.
That's a little bigger than California.
Second biggest by economy as well.
Yeah, this would be a big state actually. There's only 5 million people in Minnesota, so yeah, you can be a state.
Well, California's got 39 million, so you could be the biggest state, and we would probably have to break you up into sub-states.
Exactly, yeah. You probably wouldn't want to do that right then, because we wouldn't probably be too much power.
Yeah, we might make London its own state.
Yeah,
and
you could also just have southeast, southwest, northeast, northwest.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy how many people are there for how small your
England's.
island is.
This is a game I play sometimes. Like England is one of the most population dense countries.
Yeah.
In the Western world.
It's
quite difficult to find any that are more. You have to like mess around with like
really
Vatican, or like little things like that, or
Andorra.
Or go the other way to like Mexico or something like that. India. But even India might be less population dense. No, probably not. India's probably more.
They have a lot of space. The maps distort India and China to make them look smaller because they're near the equator.
Yeah,
they're pretty big.
But there is a billion of them, so like.
Canada only has 40 million people.
Canada is like basically
an area.
It's mostly trees.
It is, yeah.
And tundra.
Like the people are kind of like a rounding error.
If the trees woke up, we would be outnumbered.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you guys would be fucked for sure.
All right, we ready?
Yeah, I think we're ready.
No, we're not. I saw this thing that's opening in London. It's a D&D bar. Right. So you go down there, you buy seats, and then they provide the games master and help you make characters and then run you through a story. I've not looked loads into it. I assume you have to go for like a few hours. But Neil, I saw them selling tickets for an event where they're charging £60 per person to play with a guest DM. I looked this person up. They seem to be a nobody with like 200 followers. Like you could legit go down there and sell tickets for like 500 quid a ticket or something like that and probably fill the place out for a couple of weeks and just be like, making cash money. I don't actually know how it would go. This place might close down in like a year because who knows how much the rent is costing them to keep that place open in London. But pretty cool idea though.
Jesus,
that'd be pretty good. 60 £60 a seat for what, 5 players? That's £300.
Yeah.
It's not fantastic. It's not terrible.
It's not great. No, you'd want more than that though.
Oh yeah.
£300 USD. Yeah, that'd only be $370. Yeah.
But I was thinking, I'm wondering if you could maybe like have it where, because they've got their own DMs. I wonder if the guest DM is like, maybe there's like 2 tiers of DMs. Like there's a DM at the table who handles the mechanics, and then there's like the story DM who talks to the whole room.
Oh wait,
that would actually be cool.
Is the whole room playing in one campaign?
No, not usually. I think you would have your own table, and I'm wondering like maybe they could do that for the guest set, right? You could have like assistant DMs and like the main DM.
The multi-DM thing it's a mythologized. Everyone at some point wants to do like multiple GMs, so you can do exactly what you're talking about, the big story and the mechanics. And I've yet to find a way to make it work, but it's like, it's the dream. It's the El Dorado. It's the fountain of youth. It's the, you can do it. I just don't know how. And it seems like it would be amazing, but just like, not quite sure.
Yeah, I can see mechanical issues, but anyway, thought that sounded cool.
Great idea, though.
I will say my Christmas was okay, but I put so much effort into the food. I was cooking this shit for 4 days. I'm not even joking. I bought a sous vide machine to make.
How do you like it?
Yeah, it was great. I've never had turkey breast that like not dry, basically.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. 10 out of 10. Every single element completely and utterly nailed. I'm not even sure how I could top it. It was that good.
Fuck, dude.
And it was frankly wasted on the people that were there to eat it. Should have been Gordon Ramsay at this table, let me tell you. Okay. Right, we can go now.
All right. With that mouth-watering something.
Yes.
Waiting for us. Let's figure out where we left off. Where we left off, you had talked to Barbara Ann, the old woman in the Grimy Gremlin, and you had talked to some dwarves to get some information. Some kids to get some information and some dwarves to be your bodyguards. So now you got 4 bodyguards, 2 night, 2 day, led by a guy named Cutter. You've got Barbara Ann, the old woman, who's going to get you some information back. And then I think you have a team of 3 kids, was it? Who are going to head off and get some information for you.
It was like an elf. Or sorry, it was a half elf, a human,
and a halfling.
And like a halfling. Yeah.
Yeah, they're your scouts.
So
I'm going to take a week and I'm going to take bed rest.
Well, there was a list of questions that the kids were going to find out, though, and they were all to do with where Steel Team 6 are being held in the... Not blockade. What's the... Stockade.
Stockade, yeah.
The pillory.
And then what was it that we were asking the woman, Barbara Ann, was finding us information on Angus?
Mm-hmm. You wanted leverage on Angus. You wanted to know what motivated him, what made him tick. And you also wanted to figure out what's going on with these notes between Lady Pine and High Princess Sella Sulwick.
That was the most important thing.
Oh, also, people have been pointing out that Angus Smelter isn't actually a dwarf.
He's a dwarf.
But he's been changed into one now, officially. So I just want to confirm this guy's race.
I do believe that he wasn't originally a dwarf. And then someone started talking about him as a dwarf, and I doubted my memory because I always doubt my memory. And I just kind of rolled with it, but I do believe he was not intended to be a dwarf.
So is he a dwarf or is he not a dwarf?
Is the man? Yeah, is the guy a dwarf or not?
Is the guy a dwarf or not?
That is important.
He is a 5'7" human.
Okay, well
he has a character sheet. Right? He's a human.
He could be a dwarf. With a name like Angus Smelter, though, he should be a dwarf, really.
Yeah.
That's a dwarven name.
We'll need to look into that. Maybe he was turned into a human.
Wait, maybe he's paid for expensive surgery to have himself stretched out a little bit.
Yeah, he could be wearing fake boots.
Yeah. Fake boots and a full body corset to make himself.
That's actually a rumor we should spread around that he's actually really a dwarf.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Okay.
All right.
Okay, so where did we end? Are we back at our house?
We're resting. We're gonna rest for a little while. You're gonna get back from Barbara Ann before anything else, right? Because she has information. She just needs to read the cipher. So I believe you have a meeting with her in the next day or so.
Am I meeting her back at the Gremlin?
Yeah. And I believe MrMouton, you are probably going to want to attend this meeting.
Yeah, I'm curious of it. So I'll give a bed rest for that day.
Yeah. Well, Neil, he can go to a meeting for an hour and still get his bed rest, can't he?
Not if he's trying to get 3 HP. If he's trying to get his 3 HP with the doctor and bed rest, he is...
Can I get 1 HP that day?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, perfect. Just tell me when to take HP, because I'm not... I don't know the time as well as you.
Yeah. Just tracking these things.
So this is what, a few days later?
The very next night, on December 23rd in the evening, we head back to... Wait a minute. 5. Cupper's Head, Rooster's Cup. Ooh, did we lose a day here? The Rooster's Cup was over here. And then you went to the Grimy Gremlin. This must be a day or 2 later. I don't know. All right. December 25th.
Christmas.
A few days before New Year.
Does Santa come? Have we been good boys?
No. You have been naughty.
Cole, at least?
Not even Cole. No. You just get a swift kick in the britches. Grimy Gremlin. Perfect. All right. It's the 25th. It's the Grimy Gremlin. You head back down, and there's Barbara Ann. She looks like she's just settling in. Like maybe she got up to get a drink, or maybe she just arrived. But she hasn't been here long. She's settling into her seat, kind of easing herself down with her arms, holding her weight like an old person with bad knees. And she sees the two of you come in, and she lifts one of her old, soft hands in your direction and waves you over.
All right. Look at the hand. Are there wrinkles? Is it very wrinkly?
Yeah, throw me that perception check. It's a good perception check, Mr. Mooton. They're very soft. They're wrinkled. It's
what I'd expect of an older lady.
Yes, but there's something a little bit weird about them. Like she raises her hand for a moment, and then she sits back down, and you can inspect them over the course of your conversation. Well, I'll give you more detail there, but sure. Immediately, if you look at her hands, there's something a little off about them.
Cool.
Yeah. What made you think to look at her hands?
You had described her as older in the past, and I'm kind of like trying to pick up, is she doing like an act of like, oh, I'm this old frail woman, or something of the sort? You
think that this might be a ruse, a disguise?
Yeah.
A ploy.
He's the one with the eyes, so I'll let him do that. I'm waiting at the bar. I've just ordered my drinks. I assume they'll bring them over to the table for me. So as she calls my name, I'll turn around and walk over and say, "Good to see you again, Barbara. Been here long?" As I pull a stool out and take a seat.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah. It's still dead in here tonight, is it? Neil, or is it busy? Yeah.
She'll say, "Oh, it's usually quiet here. One of the reasons I like this place. You can have a conversation. It's not too loud."
That's true. Yeah. Some of the bards in those other places across the city, they can't sing. It's too loud. You can't have a conversation. I hope you don't mind, Barb, but I've brought my nephew here. Me and him, we work together. His name's Pigeon.
Yeah, we've met before.
Milady. It's a pleasure to meet you again, Pigeon.
Good. All right, so we're all.
I reach my hand out to like take it.
Yeah, she'll shake your hand with her,
I kiss the top of her hand and get a good look at it.
Okay, we'll give you more information after the conversation. Yeah.
How did we know to come back this night? Was it agreed that
it was agreed?
We'll just meet in 2 days for.
She just needed a couple days to read the ciphers. Yeah.
So, do you have a look at those notes?
I most certainly did, and there's a little bit of juicy information in here. Maybe not to your tastes or to your likings, but of a curiosity and note for myself.
Is that right? Like what?
Well, it's not the content of the notes so much as... Well, it is the content, but let me say, this Lady Pine serves Count Marshall up in the Golden Sea. And she's writing these letters to Princess Sella Sulwick. And the contents of them are mundane, but that they're being sent to the Princess of Eridon is quite fascinating. You see, the Eridonians have little need to communicate these back to her. If anything, she should be writing status updates to her liege, who is William Marshall, Count Marshall. Or maybe to whoever the current reigning monarch happens to be. They're dying like flies up in High Castle. Or perhaps maybe to the Empress. Lady Sella Sulwick used to be the liege lord of Lady Pine and Count Marshall, but isn't any longer, or shouldn't be any longer. So that she's sending these messages, it seems to me there are a couple of interpretations here. It seems that Lady Pine could be acting as a spy on the Golden Sea and Count Marshall in particular for Lady Sulwick, Princess Sulwick. Maybe the princess doesn't trust the count. Maybe she wants to keep tabs on him indirectly without questioning his leadership since he's in such an important position. Or perhaps the princess is greedy and is looking for some more territory to claim. Maybe she's looking for openings or weaknesses. Or maybe because Count Marshall used to be a servant of the princess, and maybe he owes her something from that servitude and he's not paying up. These are all possibilities. Perhaps she's just checking up on an old friend, but also, perhaps more importantly than any of these things, is Count Marshall's father is a rather big to-do over in Eridon. He's some fancy merchant man with toes in every puddle. So perhaps...
Do you mean Eridon or Drekis?
Drekis.
Drekis.
Okay, just making sure.
Perhaps this is more of Lady Princess Sulwick trying to ascertain the greater field, checking up on father by looking in on son, if you understand me. There's multiple what do you call them, tiers of power that are all at play here. For your purposes, I don't see these being of much use to you, but who am I to say?
Well, do you not think that if Lady Pine's spying on Lord Marshall, that he might not want to know about that?
Do you think there's money in it?
As the young man says, he might want to know, but the road to profit here is murky at best.
That's right, yeah. Well, I have to say that me and my nephew here have risen high in the world in recent months, but the business of counts and princesses and empresses, I think, is well above our head. Not sure that it's much use to us if we can't turn it for a coin.
Yeah, but you use information, right?
I am a broker of knowledge.
You think you could sell these and then take a profit? We could cut you in.
Well, she hands the notes back to you. I have read their contents, and that is what is of value. I don't know anyone who would pay for the papers themselves.
They wouldn't want the proof? I nod.
Lord Count Marshall must have spies, people that work amongst the Drakisian lands. Do you not know anyone like that, maybe? That might be interested?
Perhaps. But, again, where is the benefit? Knowledge is power. Sharing that freely doesn't help me and doesn't help you. But what is your game here, young man? What is it that you seek to game?
Nothing other than a leg up over everyone else. I mean, points.
I mean, maybe next time
really.
if we get in trouble out there, you won't fucking have us executed.
The young man, once again, is maybe perhaps right. Holding this in your pocket might be a get-out-of-jail-free card if you ever run afoul of Lord Marshall or his men, or any of the other people being spied upon by Lady Pine. This could be a useful tool for you to hold in reserve should you get into trouble. It may not work, but it's a tool. If you wanted to turn a penny on this, I would say, this is just an old woman who's tired of traveling. I would say you approach the Princess Sella and offer your services as spies more directly. She doesn't have, I imagine, very many people out here that she could trust. And I don't know why she would trust the two of you, no offense, dears. But if you wanted to make money, that would be your route. But you would have to travel to
I'm not sure I'm
Drekis
gonna
and meet
spy
with
on my
princesses.
countrymen for a foreign lady. I think even we have to draw a line somewhere, Pigeon.
Oh yeah, I don't want to spy on these people.
But we could spy for, I don't know. I kind of like the idea of being a spy. I mean, it sounds cool.
I mean, yeah, it kind of does. We could work for Marshall, make a few bucks.
But who would we spy on?
His people, on Lady Pine, for him.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, we could spy on like the city here. You know, maybe he needs someone in the city. You know.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd love to talk to us.
Yeah. What was his I mean, you know, like I don't really follow the politics too much, but what was his relationship like with the princess before he came over here?
His house served hers, and well, it's not his relationship with the princess that is the most interesting thing about the great Count Marshall. He had an affair in the south, the land known as Caldonia, which no longer exists.
I heard about. Oh, that was him. Is that? Oh, that explains the legs.
And the flaming sword. Yes, but I do believe the princess and he never quite saw eye to eye. Different.
He had an affair with a princess.
Different, goals and intermediaries. Again, I don't think this. No offense, boys, but this doesn't feel like your realm of interest.
Nice shrug.
You did ask me, though, about Mr. Angus Smelter.
No, that is more in my realm of interest.
You asked for what motivates him. What's his... What sorts of things you could use for leverage?
That's right.
And
He's
I
a
do believe
despicable chap.
you paid me up front 20 pieces of gold for the cipher, for the letters and information.
Before we move on from that, Barbara, I just want to clarify the ownership of the information in the letters.
The letters are yours, she says, pushing them across the table
Obviously,
to you.
the letters, yes. But like you said, we could hold them in reserve and use them as a get out of jail free card, perhaps. But if you've already told everyone and their dog about what's in them, then it's not going to be much help for us, is it? So I was just wondering where your stance on the, is the information yours to freely pass on?
She folds her hands on the table and looks at you calmly.
Yeah, I'm calm. I'm not. I'm genuinely interested in how it works.
She's very much like, you can't kill an idea.
Yeah.
This is my line of work. Can be difficult to manage. I buy and sell and trade in information. So if someone wishes to know about the relationship between High Princess Ella Solwick and Lady Pine and they're willing to pay me, that is information I would sell unless I have been paid to keep that information secret. If that is the case, well, then I will honor those secrets.
Okay, I get it. So she wants paid if we want her to keep it secret. Otherwise, she might not seek it out, but if someone comes and asks specifically about that, she's going to pass along the information for a fee.
Yeah.
I'm of the mind, I think we should just give this letter over to a Marshall spy, and then maybe that'll come around in a later date with a quest.
Stir the pot and see what comes up.
Stir it a little bit, yeah. And then he might be like, "Oh, those," or someone might just be like, "Those guys who got us this? Maybe they can go and figure out something else."
Yeah, but we're kind of outing ourselves as the people who robbed her keep if we do that.
No, not 100%.
Not 100%, but quite likely though.
That would mean
Quite like
going
it.
back
we
out
would need
there,
to-
finding someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would need to have the right person. Like not necessarily here, but we'd need to already know them. You know, I don't think we could just go and find a spy that works for Lord Marshal.
I was thinking someone here at the Grimy Gremlin. Maybe not this lady, but someone else.
That's what I was trying to get
might-
at. Like, I wouldn't
Yeah.
be surprised if Count Marshall had a spy master. Perhaps let's say, just for example, that his name was Grimes, and that guy might have some connections in the city. Like perhaps he'd run a tavern. Yeah, he'd probably call it something cool, like
The Grimy
you know,
Gremlin.
like the Grimy Goblin or something like that. You know, maybe.
Again, this lady might not know, but maybe the barkeep will know. So I think we should pay her to be quiet, and then we should just pass this along as like a nice gesture if we can find someone, and then see if something comes of it. If nothing comes of it, this wasn't worth anything to us anyways.
I don't know if we should pay her. I mean, we already paid the woman 20
How
gold
much-
to read a letter.
Well, how much to not pass along information?
I can keep my silence for a period of time for an amount of money. If you would like me to keep this secret to my grave, the cost is significantly higher than if you want me to sit on it for a month or a year.
2 months.
I can sit on this information for 2 months for the price of 10 more pieces of gold.
I slide 10 across the table. I think
That's
that's more
fine.
than worth it.
Yeah.
That's totally fair. I thought she was gonna say like 200 gold. I was gonna be like, all right, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
But no, 10 gold, completely fair.
Okay, that's good. So that gives us 2 months to maybe
Yeah.
run into something on
We'll
this.
go have a conversation with the barkeep after this and see if she knows anybody.
Okay. Well, moving on from that affair then. Let's get back to Smelter. The loathsome little fellow that he is.
Yes. Now I've gone and checked my sources and asked around and rifled through old notes, metaphorically speaking. And I have some information about what motivates the man, how you could get leverage on him. The quality of
Good.
the information is directly proportional to the price, of course. If I could tell you that his heart was kept in a jar and on that shelf over there, that would be worth thousands of gold. Whereas if I know that he loves his mother, worth very little. Pricing information is always a difficult thing. You must pay up front and trust me that I know that this is worth that, and then I tell you, and if you don't agree, we come to some small... I want everyone to be on good terms, but I also want to be paid well for my work. You understand?
Yeah, we're
course.
gonna use you in the future as well.
And that is one advantage of the fine establishment here, is that there's a level of inbuilt trust.
So, I have information about how he leverages his power in his little area, including some clear options on how one could disrupt his hold on his people. But I don't know if that's what you're looking for. So tell me,
Well,
what is it
certainly
that you
sounds
want? Are you
Well-
seeking to hurt him or just ruin him amongst his own clan?
I want my friends back and him to leave us the fuck alone.
Yeah, and a man like Smelter, he's not going to leave you alone unless you give him a reason to leave you alone. So we've got to hurt him somehow, one way or another. I'm not really fussy about how we do that, whether that's hurting him personally, hurting his family, loosening his grip on his power inside his district. All viable options. I appreciate what you're saying about pricing information, Barbara. Let's say money wasn't an object and we were just spilling the beans on Angus here. What would that cost me?
I don't think I follow.
Well, there must be some limit to your knowledge on Angus Smelter.
Certainly.
So if we were to exhaust it, how much would that cost? Accounting for any bulk buying discounts, of course.
She pauses and starts considering, like, If you wanted everything I know about the man, I would need more time to draw up maps, make plans. But we would be speaking in the 4-figure range of gold. If you wanted everything on the man.
That's probably too much.
That's way too much.
What if we want what you think would be pertinent?
Well,
Yeah,
it
your
sounds
discretion.
to me like what you want is to get your friends back and to get him off your back. What you want isn't to hurt him. You want to blackmail him. Because if you hurt the man, he's just going to want to hurt you back. He will seek revenge. But if you have the ability to hurt him that waits in the shadows and doesn't reach out, he may afford you some respect to keep it that way. And there is an avenue to that. It's not necessarily clean or straightforward, but it's there. So, how much do you think it would be worth to have an angle to blackmail Mr. Smelter and get your friends free and his clan off your back?
Well, for this one idea, I look at Pigeon. We
2?
could probably... Well, let's maybe do one at a time. We could part with... I look, Pigeon. 75 gold?
Pigeon's face betrays him, as that is too low in his mind.
It's the art of the deal, mate. Read a book for once in your life.
It's unfortunate. I could tell you some things about Mr. Smelter for that price. I could tell you for that price what motivates him in his strategy, his overarching approaches to maintaining power. But
How about
for
100
maybe...
platinum?
Well, it's a little closer. She says, flashing Luther a smile. For 100 platinum pieces, I could tell you what it is that his people see in him and respect in him, and how best to hang that over his head. But for another 50 platinum more, I can tell you where you can find something actionable there.
Ooh.
300 gold's a lot. Can we do a fucking treasury check? How much gold?
I
do
have
still
200 platinum on me.
Yeah, but let's just check
Let's check our hoard.
Let's check the hoard because this is.
We have 5 topaz gems worth 500 gold each. We have 1,000 gold worth of amber gems. We have some fancy jewelry. We have some zircons. I don't know what the fuck that is.
We've got about 5,000 gold.
Yeah.
Bit more than 5,000 gold.
You can afford to pay.
We can afford to pay 300 here. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I think we can. So I look at Pigeon and I like turn on my stool and like put a hand up, so we can kind of like talk in private, and she's not reading my lips or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a little back. How much do we have? We've got those gems. They're probably worth about 500. Okay, we've got about 5k.
Yeah,
Okay, all right. And I spin back around and I say, okay.
I pulled
300 gold, 150 platinum.
I pulled 3 bags off my pouch. I guess out of my bag probably. And I'll place them on the table. Ching, ching.
Oh, prompt payment indeed. I wasn't expecting that.
We are men of action. And Barbara, like I said, there's a mutual trust here from this establishment. This is a lot of coin.
It is.
Which, as I'm sure you understand, I don't doubt the veracity of your knowledge, but I just want you to know that we believe that we're paying for the best information in the city. Yeah.
You
we
are.
just paid to skip the quest, which was nice. We got right to the juicy stuff.
It will
Hopefully
be
we
up
still got
to
the XP.
you to manage the problems that come from here. But I can tell you a little bit about this man. He was a smelter by trade back before everything in the world went to shit.
Write it down, Nick. Write it down.
Yeah, I'm doing it in the party notes thing.
For a while there, he picked up weapons in order to make ends meet and trained him and got quite good with a mace. Slowly that's evolved into a world of crime when things went poorly around him. He's literate, but just barely. His great strengths are smelting metals and smashing heads, as well, and this is his most important strength, as reading a person. He's quite socially perceptive and understands what it is that motivates the hearts of men. During his early days in Copper Hill, he developed a little bit of a following during his crime spree days because he was able to properly motivate his co-workers, let's call it. Angus Smelter is a man who knows that the ultimate the ultimate form of power comes from direct force, but that it's faster and easier to get what you want if you get people to agree with you. He doesn't like to lose. In order to motivate his people, Angus Smelter has poured a great deal of his clan's finances into rebuilding or building a new temple, which he calls New Temple, I believe. New Hill is what he calls it. And it's this that he has poured his heart, his soul, and his wealth into. It's this temple that has become a community center for the Copper Hill gang and the people on the east side of the city. It's this that has been his source of influence and strength. He has also gained quite a lot of personal prestige in his handling of the Francine's imports and exports fiasco. The public display of shaming of the people who stole from him has gone over quite well amongst his people. And no offense, young men, the failures of the rest of that team to bring back the relics of the late Lord Vicious have also helped to, what do you say, fluff the egos of the Copper Hill gang. Now, this is all to say that if you want to hurt Mr. Angus, if you want to threaten to ruin Mr. Angus, all you would need to do is get a great cleric, a cleric that is respected by many, whose honor would be impeachable, to come and somehow declare the New Hill Temple invalid, a heresy. If you could strike at his relationship with the temple and his people, if you could get a priest to say that this temple was built in some way that dishonors the gods, or that the actions of the temple are heretical, if you could find a way to twist the knife and turn his greatest triumph into a failure, well, that could do quite well. Perhaps
Well, Luther,
burning it to the ground would ruin his monetary sources and might disenchant those around him. He fails to protect this cultural icon that he claims credit to.
is that the temple that he took us into and made it swore upon all the gods, and then he ambushed us and took us hostage?
He also had a throne in there, which, you know, given that he's not a cleric or a priest, felt a little bit wrong to me. might not be too hard to convince another cleric to condemn it.
I only know that one in Copper Hill.
Which one's that?
Do you remember when we were outside of the gate and the cleric came out and looked at us and then thought we were liars and we were sinful?
Oh yeah.
Yes, if you could get a cleric to publicly shame Mr. Angus. Maybe not his temple, but if a cleric could come and publicly admonish him in front of his people, ooh, that would hurt him.
Oh, they gotta be a well-known cleric too.
A respected cleric.
Do we ever have any clerics come and visit the Grimy Gremlin, or perhaps one in the inner city that the pitmen have a relationship with?
I don't think that's the sort of cleric whose opinion would sway his people, if you understand. You
I think we need the
would
one
need
from Copper Hill.
a virtuous man or woman.
Well, they would respect the opinion from the Copper Hill cleric, I assume.
But how do we get him here and to get him to do the job?
What you need is the leverage, my dear boys. You want the threat. If you actually get the cleric to shame him, and he knows that it was you who did it, sure, your friends would be dead within an hour. And you, well, he might not rest until you were unseated.
But if we get the leverage, which we have, then that might be enough to get our friends back.
And this is the tricky part. How do you get a cleric? How can this be used as an appropriate threat? This is where the hard part comes in. And I think this is the extent of what I have to share. If you have smaller questions about the man, I'm happy to answer them. Prices are included. He's 5'7", 150 pounds. He's right-handed.
I think that here's a little tidbit of information for you. You can spread around if you'd like. I saw when I went up to the podium, he was wearing heels. I'm pretty sure that guy's a fucking dwarf.
What would this look like? Maybe a letter of intent from a cleric to come down there and shut the temple down?
Maybe we pay the cleric to come and see the temple. Okay. We pay him and they say like, okay, well, what's the date that you'd like to come? And then we show him like, hey, we're in contact with this cleric. If you don't ship up and ship out, we're going to actually have them come. There's nothing you can do to stop it. We have witnesses to attest to what you've done. He's got his fucking crown room, etc. However, we will cancel the visit if you give us our friends back and leave us the fuck alone. Something along those lines. Does that sound reasonable, Nick?
Yeah, but how do we prove that, though? We'd need a letter or something.
Well, we'd get a letter from the cleric, right? After we would have to pay them a bit of money. We'd get a letter and they'd be like, okay, you've paid us. Well, what date would you like us to come? And then we say like, we haven't sent the letter yet, or we have a letter ready to go. And if you don't let us go, that letter's going to be sent and they'll be coming tomorrow, or like in the next 2 days.
Like the health inspector, but for temples, like the cleric, the religious inspector. Yeah, I mean,
there
I think
are
in
certain
theory,
days of the year that are known for re-sanctification of holy grounds, she muses.
And has New Hill Temple been sanctified in the past?
She remains quiet.
She's probably not sure.
Yeah.
So we get a letter, we get it up, we pay him to come sanctify it, and then
Pigeon stops.
Maybe what we need, right? We got to find the most fervent and harsh cleric in the city, and then get this guy and invite him to come and sanctify New Hill Temple. And then we can go to Angus and say, we know that we upset you in our failure to loot the relics from Vicious's tomb. So we've got you a gift, which is we've got cleric number one most critical and hard to please cleric that we've hired to come and sanctify your temple in time for the holidays. And so that way we don't have to admit that it's a threat. But he'll understand that if that specific cleric comes to sanctify the temple, that he's not going to turn a blind eye to the throne, to whatever, and will probably refuse to sanctify it. And then that in itself will be the issue.
Well, I think that because genuinely the one from Copper Hill, I actually think that cleric might be truly righteous from our interaction.
Remind me, this was not the guy that checked us for being zombies.
No, this was the guy who we went outside Copper Hill and he came and he said that he can see through our lies and that we are sinners.
You were walking through Copper Hill. There's like a castle in the middle of it, like a big ass wall with a moat, and there was a new cleric there. They kept calling it the cathedral or something.
Yeah. Okay, I do remember that. But just getting him to come and sanctify the temple in itself is not a threat. I mean, if anything, that's a favor. There has to be a threat of... Like, so either the temple itself is so obviously sacrilegious that if someone came to sanctify it, they'd obviously not do it. Like, if that's the case, then that would work. Otherwise, we will need to prime the cleric by saying, like, we've seen X, Y, and Z, and this place needs to be shut down.
But you can't bribe a righteous man.
Cleric.
Yeah.
Well, here's the other thing as well. If you can convince the righteous man that the temple should be shut down, you can't then say, well, actually, we need this as blackmail, so can you not go through with it, please? Because once he's convinced of the need to do it, which is a necessity, he's going to go through with it because he's convinced, regardless of whether or not Angus lets our friends go.
Right.
I mean, I could pretend to be a cleric with my great acting and disguise skill, and then we could do whatever the fuck we wanted.
I don't know. I gotta think. How do we get the cleric here? Or with the threat of the cleric to come, and how do we get him to actually know that his temple is not going to meet the standards? I think the throne's a good way.
Yeah,
I feel like there shouldn't be a throne in there, but what stops him from removing it? Is it just built in, Neil? Was it like stone?
I don't know what throne you guys were talking about. I was kind of gonna let you guys.
He's on a dais. He's on a dais, right?
Yeah, it's not a throne. There's no throne.
What's a chair on top of a dais? I mean,
There was no chair.
Okay.
Oh, he's just standing on it.
He was just standing there.
Standing up there.
Yeah, it's
But is the dais, is it like a normal dais? Like if he
Yeah.
wasn't standing on it, it would be normal for it to be there.
Yeah, but he was standing where the high priest might stand to give a sermon.
This is, I mean, like, it's actually easier to get a fake cleric than a real cleric in a lot of ways, because a real cleric's hard to predict, hard to control. Whereas someone pretending to be a cleric, we can have them hold their tongue if we need them to. We can have them go after something that's not really significant.
The old woman, Barbara Ann, sits across from you, sort of listening to this conversation, seemingly pleased and taking sips from her little glass, watching, waiting.
Here's the other thing, though. Maybe, I mean, it might just be easier to... We might have be falling into the same trap as last time, in that it might be easier to just break them out than it is to, disgrace him in some way and force or blackmail him into giving them back. He also loves to win, so if we can be seen to have got the last laugh, that might be enough to weaken his hold on his power anyway.
Trying to think, because I hear you with the fake cleric, but we would need to then build a whole backstory, right?
Yeah.
Of like, he's the most holy cleric in the land. This person's coming to visit, and we could probably do this, and we could probably send all of those kids out to start putting out like fake messages and then we could tell Angus, like, we're going to tell him what you did to us. And we have one of your guys who was there hostage as a witness. But you have to do, like, we would need to do the groundwork of creating this character and a lie bigger than life.
Yeah.
That he's going to fear, which I think is that's incredible work. That's a
My
hard
dear
fucking
boys,
task.
I think
Yes,
you're
ma'am.
overthinking this. You are
Please.
most of the way there. And since this is our first transaction, why don't I throw in a little juicy tidbit? You don't need the cleric to be in on it in any way, shape, or form. This is the new hill temple that he has, and as you have appropriately said, there is a very righteous man in the old hill temple. A good man. A man who loves his people and is empowered with the strength of the gods. If a member of his congregation were to ask him to come and pass judgment on a new temple said to be connected to his, and it turns out to be a fraudulent man, well, he would certainly not be happy with that. What I'm saying is, you need not bring a cleric. You need only bring the threat of the cleric's judgment, and one who his people would respect. Whatever the cleric's name in Copper Hill may be, in the ruins of Copper Hill may be, he might be tempted to come visit this offshoot of the church with
So-
all of the people here.
All we
But is
need to
then-
do is send him a note that says, we are going to contact the cleric of Old Hill to come and visit your new temple, unless you return our friends.
Maybe we could.
You're on the right track. Something in that realm. Maybe a little
Well, my-
finesse there.
My issue with that is that isn't there a chance that the cleric could come and find the new hill temple in good working order?
Maybe, but we know this bastard. We know what he's done to us in the temple itself. And that's just what we know. Imagine what he's hiding in that temple.
What did that
Perhaps we
cleric say to the two of you?
Something like he swears before all of the gods that he's going to let us leave? Am I right, Luther?
Yeah, they promised not to harm us. They did.
But did
I wonder
he
if-
judge you to be good men?
Oh, no. Oh, sorry. The cleric. I thought you were talking about the guy in
Oh.
the New Hill Temple. No. The cleric, he judged us to be sinners. Big time.
Quite prescient, really.
And we were
Was-
good. We were lying to him good.
What do you think this cleric might say if he came face to face with a man like Angus Smelter, who keeps
That's a
men
good
in
point.
pillories right across the street
That's a
from
good
the
point.
temple?
If he can see
Yeah.
through my acting, he'll definitely see through Smelters.
He'll see through his ass. Yeah, quick.
Okay, you're right.
He just needs an invitation to come and do your dirty work.
I'm sure the Old Hill cleric would love to check out New Hill.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. Yeah. Thank
But
you,
he
ma'am.
Mr. Smelter
must
needs to
already-
be aware of this danger.
Yeah, he does. He does.
I
All
mean,
right,
Well-
Luther, you make up a letter.
We got a plan there. Thanks, Barbara.
my pleasure.
I'll put 5 gold on the table as a tip.
Thank you.
Little tip for the tidbit.
Yeah, tip for the tidbit.
All
Now,
right.
if you know anyone that needs, you have anyone you trust that needs information or would like to sell information, please act as a middleman between them and me. I only deal with clients I know who I trust in this safe establishment.
You'd only want to meet someone here?
I would prefer to work with you as an intermediary if they are not privileged enough to come here.
That's good. We
or
can,
if you
we
can,
get out of that too.
We
If
can
you
we
can
can do
vet
that.
them.
Don't worry. We have plenty of need for information, so I'm sure we'll be seeing you again.
well, if you ever come across any information, you're also happy to sell it to me. Get any good juicy tidbits? Be happy to pay for them.
All right. And then if you need us to get any information from you, you tell us too.
I may have a job for you one day.
Great.
And with that, she will get up and then just move over to another table so that you guys can have your own conversation that she doesn't have to be a part of.
Luther, this lady's amazing.
Yeah.
She really
That's
knows it
fucked up.
all.
So what I'm thinking, maybe we send him like a double letter. One is like the letter that we will send to the cleric,
Exactly what I was
and the
thinking,
other is the letter explaining basically the threat of blackmail.
Yeah.
I'm good at forgery. I could make like a really official looking letter, like inviting the new Hill cleric, the old Copper Hill cleric, to come and sanctify and meet Angus Smelter, this great hero of Copper Hill who's built this temple. And have that, and then show that. And we can make two versions of it. We send one to Angus and say, with another letter alongside it, like basically, listen, you know, you sent us on this quest. You lied to us about offering us safe passage in the meeting. You sent us on that quest. You put our friends in the stockade. Let them go. We leave this here.
Our debt is paid.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the new letter would be like, it could either be from someone of like the parish, because we can easily get a name of that. We'll send one of the kids in, they'll go get a name, and then we'll make it from them, and he'll be like, Father, from Old Hill, I've been in your flock in the past. I'm now in New Hill. It's going great here. I'm writing you to have you come and consecrate the new building. Angus is so great, blah, 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 right?
Yeah. So it's from the point of view of one of the new
His members, yeah.
Copper Hill parishness. Okay.
This is good.
Yeah, that's a good little plan. So do we put the breaking them out of the stockades plan on hold until we resolve this?
Yeah, 100%. But we have that in the back in case we need it.
Yeah. Okay. So, you know, let's finish our drinks here. And we can, I mean, there's no reason why I can't start writing that letter tonight.
Let's start talking. Let's talk to the bartender real quick and see if, like, we can't just go up to her and be like, hey, do you know any spies for the Dracissian Empire? But what we could say is like, do you know anybody who's who's intricately intimate with the royal family and interested in stuff surrounding that of Drekis?
Or more like, do you know anyone that's close to Lord Marshall, right?
Yeah, that could hit. But I was going to hit the other thing too, because then there's maybe spies who've put out feelers like, if you hear anything about like the royal family or anything like that, I want it to come right to me. So yeah, you can talk to them then.
Okay, well, let's finish our drinks, and then I'll go up to Satellar Tab, to the barmaid, and you know, I hand her over the coins, and I say, by the way, before we leave, I know that plenty of people come in and out of this place, so I was just wondering if anyone is ever in here asking for information about the Dracissian royal family, or perhaps anyone that's close to Count Marshall. We've got some information that to the right party could be useful, but, you know, we don't know them.
Here in the Grime and Gremlin, there's a certain amount of trust. If you say you have information to offer, I can hold on to that. I see you've been talking with Miss Barbara Ann. If you have messages that you would like passed, I can, you know, hold that until someone asks for it. But we do our best not to talk about our members' intentions and comings and goings.
Of course. Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is, if anyone has asked you to keep a lookout for information on the royal family or on Marshall, or if anyone does ask you that, point them in our direction.
I can do that.
All right. And then I'll finish
and
the last sip of my
which
pint.
royal family are you talking about? To be clear?
That means there's, yeah, it's like, well, which one do you want?
The Dracissian, particularly
the
the
Empress.
Sulix.
Oh.
It's all one family, I thought.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone, it's particularly the Solwicks, but anyone asking for information about the Drakissian royal family.
Yeah, or anyone close to Lord Marshal. It's maybe, I don't know if I'm sure he's got spies in the city. I shrug.
You want to give me a tidbit so I can, so I know what people are, what they're looking for?
Let's say, despite the new Count's great features, there are those that are resistant to change, and even a mighty lord such as himself may find himself with enemies. And perhaps we could help shine a light on some of those enemies.
Can do.
All right. I drink the end of my pint, put it down. Cheers.
Have a good night.
Grab my coat and leave.
Yeah. With the dagger strapped to her chest, she waves at you as you head on out, leaving just her, Barbara Ann, and a couple of dwarves down here in the Grimy Gremlin. Quiet night.
Nice. Okay. We head out into a cold Christmas evening.
There's no Christmas here. I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
It's
the joy
just-
of Yule fills the air regardless.
What a beautiful day. I'm going to call this Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, look over there. There's a child just been born in that barn.
Oh, a lot of myrrh I have for him.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. That's the kind of thing that could spiral out of control in people's minds. Okay,
All right.
we head back to our house then, and I'll get to, probably in the morning, get to my writing desk.
Yeah, because you're going to need to go get nice paper for this, or the appropriate paper and
Yeah.
ink. You're not just going to grab whatever's lying around. You got, if you're forging, you want to be set up.
Yeah, and if it's from the point of view of someone who is earnestly valuing the opinion of this cleric and wants him to sanctify the New Hill Temple, great care would be taken in making the letter as appealing as possible and as respectful as possible in terms of the quality of the writing, the grammar, the spelling being correct, the quality of the paper, things like that. So that all has to be done correctly.
So from what perspective, what person is writing this? Because if it's, a letter written by a street urchin number 7, it's going to come read one way. If it's maybe a skilled craftsman, it's going to read another way. What type of person is writing this letter?
I think it should be how long has it been since the Copperhill gang moved here?
Oh, 5-10 years, something like that.
Yeah. So I reckon it's a child that was brought up quite religious that's now 20. And they remember going to the Old Hill Temple, and it's really important to them, and they want this figure from their past, their old life to come in.
And you're making 3 letters in total, right? You're making one real one, you're making one to Angus, and then one copy.
Yeah, so there's going to be 2 of the letters to the priest.
Yeah.
And then one blackmail letter to Angus.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So from a child who grew up religious in Copper Hill, now is in the capital, and wants the approval of the old priest on the new temple and of the man who's leading the temple. Okay. Oh, Nick, you're cutting out, buddy.
You're good.
I'm good. Maybe their parents have recently died, but their parents spoke very fondly of the cleric at the Old Hill Temple, and now that they've passed, it's important for him to come in because they've been. Will they be burying people here?
Yeah, there's a couple of graveyards on either side of the New Hill Temple.
So I think another thing that we could do is maybe try and find a suitable set of adults that have recently died. Maybe we could say are this person's parents, and then kind of craft this narrative of my parents brought me up very religious. We moved here when I was young. They've been buried here now. I'm worried about them being buried on non-sanctified ground. And it would mean a lot for me if you could come here and sanctify the temple.
Now, is this person a poor huddled mass? Are they an artist, a servant, a skilled laborer, a merchant, a producer?
Not a merchant. Maybe a semi-skilled laborer. someone who's relatively,
like an apprentice
his parents
Cooper or
were
something.
his parents were relatively well off, but he's been given a good education and he hopes to make something of himself.
Okay, coming up from he's in a period of growth and opportunity is what we're looking at.
But he's a respectable fellow,
Respectable.
learned, as will be evident by his writing.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And he's asking the cleric to come and sanctify the temple and
say a prayer on his parents' grave.
But you wanted him to like pass judgment on Angus. So what's the angle?
Well, and to meet Mr. Smelter, who's built this temple.
So
and
within
led
that
our community.
include something like from the kid's point of view of like, there's this great man who built the temple. You must meet him. He laid all the groundwork for this temple being created. Blah blah blah.
He runs the day-to-day affairs. Leave enough hints in there that could let the priest think if this guy was not, because he might know Angus Smelter, or at least have an idea about him. Say like Angus handles the day-to-day operations of the church. He's very involved in the community. He organizes the sermons. Enough that the cleric might think, well, hang on a minute. Is this Angus trustworthy?
He claims to be the holiest man in all of what is this place called?
Is that true? Does he do that?
No, I would just sprinkle in a lie there.
Yeah, maybe. It needs to ring true enough to Angus that he'll be scared by it.
Okay. So we definitely want the letter to say like you should meet Angus and you should come and sanctify the temple.
Yeah. There's 3 requests: sanctify the temple, say a prayer at the parents' grave, and meet Angus. And then the backstory is that they grew up in Copper Hill, attending his church. Moved here when he was young. Parents recently died. And wants their burial and the ground to be sanctified.
Okay. Here.
Include something like
Maybe an offer of payment as well.
I wouldn't include that, I guess. I would include something about how the name of the temple is even like reminiscent of the old one, and we like think that you as the leader of Old Hill should come and pass the torch on to New Hill.
Well, not pass the torch on, but authenticate it.
Yeah.
Since they see it as an extension of the Old Hill Temple.
Correct.
Authenticate's a good word here. Like, give it your blessing to operate as an extension of the true church.
Yeah.
Agreed. Because we also want to feed to the cleric's ego in this letter as well of like, now your church is so well renowned that you're getting spawns coming in who are imitating you and they want to be official,
Yeah, like gas them up.
Yeah.
Okay. And we want Angus to be afraid of this cleric coming in.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm assuming that Angus is going to know who this guy is, though.
We're assuming on that.
Yeah.
I mean, Copper Hill's only, a day away by horseback, so not very far.
Well, presumably they lived in the same town together for a long time.
Yeah, presumably.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. So we write this letter.
You're not going to need me to dictate a letter. You're
no. The vibes are good enough. Yeah. Now I would love you to use your forgery skill here, but I wonder if you're not really forging a signature. You're just writing a letter from a different point of view. You're not like trying to mimic a signature or create like a certificate of authenticity or something. So I actually don't think forgery comes into play. Sadly, it's a very niche ability. It's an extremely niche ability. So great. We have a letter and we've got the 2 copies. And then the one that you're sending to Angus is going to say what?
Let's think about this.
I would make it curt, honestly. I would make it like, we know what we have on you. We're willing to do it. You have I would say I would start it with you have 24 hours before this letter attached is handed over to the High Cleric of Copper Hill. Return our friends.
Well, maybe we should
go.
also acknowledge or point out the fact that we know how important New Hill Temple is to him, how much of his money he's sunk into it,
Agreed.
how all of his power stems from the influence that it grants him in the community.
Return our friends, wipe our debt. We know that New Hill Temple is your seat of power, and you and I both know that this will not pass a sanctification.
What's the guy's name? The father from the Old Hill Temple, do we know?
Let's see if we put him on our NPC tab. Oh, I did. No, I didn't.
Yeah, I don't think we did. Because it would be nice to be like, we both know how fucking anal father whatever is.
Can we give you an int check, Koibu, to remember? If not, we can go ask someone.
We did meet the geezer.
We met
You
him. Yeah.
did. You met him once for a few minutes. He made a big impression a little while ago. Give me int checks, boys.
Good.
Big 29.
Excellent.
Now Koibu needs to go through his.
Yeah.
ints.
No, Neil's got to do his in check.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, we'll put it in the letter what his name is.
Yeah. Okay, so
I feel like I gave you a name and I don't want to come up with a new one, but
It's
also
alright, yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Maybe it's in the recap. Is there a recap on the wiki for that episode? Probably.
no, the guy who's
think
been
it's
doing the
out yet.
recaps, I was talking to him earlier today and he's like, I'm so sorry, I'm so far behind, but I swear I'm going to do them. So if anyone out there in Chatlandia would like to edit the wiki to add recaps, you can do it. ArcadiaWiki.com.
So it's basically, this has gone on long enough. We've been on your merry goose chase. This ends now. We will
24
send-
hours.
Yeah. In 24 hours, we've got to send the attached to
Don't
father.
say send. Just say like, we will have it handed over to father, so
Yeah.
that he thinks that we have someone on the inside who's gonna hand him the letter.
We've met father, whatever, and we both know that your sacrilegious New Hill Temple won't stand up to his scrutiny. We also know that should the facade of your holiness shatter, then your grip on the copperheads will go with it. We see no reason that a good man such as yourself should endure such hardships. So let's let bygones be bygones. Let our friends go, and let's call an end to this whole torrid affair.
Good.
You have 24 hours. We'll be at Rusty's Hook.
I would also include, if you get the bright idea to attack us, the message will be handed over.
Well, not
okay.
if they don't kill you, right? If they kill
No,
you
'cause
successfully, then
We've got someone already in Copper Hill
Yeah, is what we're telling
ready
him.
to give the letter over. So
Is
if
what
we
we're
don't,
feigning, yeah.
if we don't give him the word not to, that letter's getting handed over in 24 hours.
okay. So, yeah. So if we don't send word to our man on the inside in the next 24 hours or whatever,
This
He'll
letter
hand this-
gets
yeah.
hand delivered
Correct. Yeah.
to Father Sanctimonious.
Don't get any bright ideas.
Even though I know that would be a struggle for you.
No, don't include that part. But that is good.
right. And do you think he will release your friends for this? Is this
Do you know
a
what?
yeah?
Personally, I don't think he will, because I think he'll see it as losing. But the one advantage is that it can be. This is why I'm kind of flirting with the idea of almost offering some public display of deference.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think if he can look like he's won, he won't actually mind letting it go. But it's if he's seen to have lost. So I think doing this behind the scenes, he can then say, all right, you guys have had your punishment. Like, fuck off, basically.
He can make the reason,
Yeah, he can come up with the reason.
Yeah,
right.
He can be like, you know what? I just received word back from St. Vicious' tomb, and there never actually was a tomb. These
or
guys,
he could say, we've given them a shitload of gold.
Yeah, true.
They
You could just say we paid them off.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Yeah, this is more of like a don't fuck with us, like leave us alone sort of leverage.
Give us our friends,
Yeah.
leave us alone, and we're going to leave you alone.
We don't want a public admission of guilt. We just want to settle
Right.
behind closed doors.
We're settling out of court.
Yeah.
So if you want this to be the clean victory where this letter alone will do it, as you're saying, you might need some way to like give him some face so he can save face with his people.
Yeah.
So how can, because if he just says like, we're letting them go, the debt thing, like that's something he tracks on his own. The letting of the people go though, how can you save enough face that way that doesn't also destroy your face, right? Because if you just go and grovel, no one's going to take Steel Team 6 seriously.
Yeah. Well, can't he just say that he's been paid? Isn't that like pretty obvious route for him? He can just say that we paid him.
Paid up.
But he didn't accept the money publicly?
I think it's kind of on him to figure it out because he's in the shitty spot. And we're giving him enough like leeway for him if he'd like, he can kind of concoct a story. And his men are going to believe him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can put into our letter however you want to spin it yourself is fine. But this is the facts on the ground. And, he's welcome to come to Rusty's Hook and discuss it with us if he wants to nuance out the details.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
We'll give him 48 hours.
Let's give him 48 hours. So
Yeah, there will be a scratch mark out. We'll do 48 hours because we'll give him a day to think.
I think that as well, making our blackmail letter a bit rough, stuff scribbled out.
Yeah.
Maybe that it's not written as well compared to the perfectly written letter to the priest. We'll just show him that he's not dealing with amateurs here. Like this is how we're usually writing things, but look at what we've actually done, put together.
Maybe
for
not
this.
even us did it. Maybe someone else did it, Yeah.
Okay. Love it. Now, do we want to send this now or do we want to finish waiting a few days before we get the information back from the scouts that were sent to like give food and water to your buds?
Yeah, I don't know. I think if we should be prepared to act to break them out immediately if we don't get the response by the 48 hours. And I actually wonder if we shouldn't even also actually get someone like we're saying we're going to do in Copper Hill, like actually set that up.
I don't think we can set that up. That would take days to weeks to set up. I think as the lady was saying, the threat is enough. I think the letter is perfectly crafted. I think we should send it now and then start resting up, and then our people will come, and then we'll have to wait a week to get them out. I really think he's going to go.
Wait, your
for
people
it, though.
will come and then you'll have to wait a week to get him out?
So what I'm saying is the people who we sent to go spy and stuff,
Yeah.
if he doesn't let them out, then they'll come back and give us the information, and then we can't go immediately because he's going to be expecting that.
Yeah.
So then we're going to have to formulate a whole plan. So
Well,
I say we send it.
If he doesn't respond appropriately, you're going to send the actual letter to the cleric, right? You'll take it there yourself or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll just have to take it there ourselves.
Well, yeah, or you could send it by their
Messenger would be better.
messenger service or something.
Confirmed.
Okay. But we're gonna enact this plan before we hear back from your other spies.
Yeah, okay. Fuck it.
All right,
Fuck
good.
it.
So we'll
do it
pay a
live.
messenger to take this to Angus.
Yes.
Just a regular old inner city messenger. It's part of your weekly fees here, your monthly fees.
But
Excellent.
we tell them to go and deliver the letter like to his home and at night, not in public. Right? Like, so it's like kept under wraps. So no one's asking questions like, what was that letter that you got the other night? We try and keep it as on the down low as possible.
Yeah.
To help him save face.
Right, because you don't want one of his subordinates getting hold of this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It needs to be delivered to Angus directly.
Now this is hard. Getting an object into someone's hands specifically is dangerous. Like, what if it's a delayed blast fireball, or what if it's like
That's true. It doesn't have to. I mean, it could be like, his personal manservant could be okay.
We'll
I just don't want it. I don't want it delivered in front of all of his of his goons. You know.
Okay.
We'll put wax on the back. We'll say to Angus only.
Yeah.
And then we'll send it to him, because as a goon, you should be opening someone's letters.
Right. But if you're if you're the president, you have someone taste your food. You might have someone open your letters in case there's a bunch of anthrax stuffed in there. So someone might open it before him and glance through it as like a trap precaution. Yeah. If that's okay with you, then this plan is fine as is. Perfect.
Yeah. That's for him to figure out. Yeah.
All right. Well.
Okay. Well, I get both versions of the priest letter written up before we send the first one, Neil. Yeah. So I'm ready to go with my second letter.
So the letters are ready on Friday, December 26th. The last day of the year is going to be Sunday, December 28th.
Wait, what?
It's at 20. No, we're doing 28-day months. Yeah.
That's easy.
Yeah. Anything else before you ship this off with a intercity messenger service?
Nope. I gained 3 HP.
All right. Yeah, you gain 3 HP. You get 1 from the night before and 3 from the day before that. So you should have gained 7 since we started our session today.
And I would have gained 2 or 3? 2.
You would have gained 3. Yeah.
Okay.
16.
Perfect. So you're going to send this letter and you're going to say we're going to be at Rusty's Hook.
Yeah. And I think we hang out at Rusty's Hook for 2 days.
And you're going to have this message delivered.
Oh, and last thing, just before we send this, I'm under the impression that Angus wouldn't be able to like lead a gang of Copperhill guys to come and beat us up in Rusty's Hook. Like in theory, maybe he could, but that would be like a big deal to do.
It would be crazy.
That would be a big
for him
deal.
As well. Yeah. He would also be then in his mind letting the letter actually be transferred over. So
yeah, that would be a big deal if he brought a whole gang over to Rusty's Hook. Like that would be the start of a great period of violence.
Yeah. Yeah, he'd be stupid to do that. Which is why Rusty's Hook's a good meeting place.
Yeah, it's a good spot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Should we tell the grimy gremlin about? No, never mind.
I think we tell Grom.
Yeah.
That we might be expecting Angus Smelter in the next couple of days.
Yeah, we'll let him know. We'll let Grom know. We might
on
be
the off chance he
Angus.
turns up, just bring him over to us. Like, don't cause any trouble.
And he might be coming to cause trouble.
Well, if he comes
wait,
with,
hold
with
on.
boys,
You're telling me Mr. Angus Smelter from the other side of town is coming here to the Rusty Hook to see you?
maybe not.
Might.
Maybe not. But if he
Probably
does,
not.
don't cause a big deal. It's important that if he comes, with guys though, then it's on. But I'm sure that won't happen.
Well, I appreciate the bit of warning. Also appreciate it if maybe you did invite one of the heads of the Copperhill families all the way over here for drinks.
Well, we didn't really invite him. He might just show up. He's really mad at us right now.
I think we can.
wash
I
the
think we
beef.
can. I hand Grom a bag of 50 gold and say for the trouble.
Thanks.
Yeah, that should smooth things over, right?
Yeah, that should definitely smooth things over. He looks at it as like, all right, that's pretty good.
All right, so we're gonna sit at that table over there in the corner on the second floor, nice and out of the way. No one usually sits over there, so if he does come on his own, just point him to us. He can keep his hood on.
I hope you're
No
not
one has to know.
expecting anyone to take up arms to defend you if something goes sideways.
We can handle
No.
that, dwarf.
Okay.
But I would expect that you guys wouldn't want people just coming into your bar and fucking people up here.
It's a public house. People can come in. We don't like trouble around here. We have our own ways of dealing with it, but I'm not going to start swinging an axe at Angus Smelter and whatever posse he would bring with him. You know,
I hear ya. Be pretty
All right.
disrespectful though if he just came into your guys' turf and started rolling heads without talking to you.
it would be.
Yeah. All right.
We're on the same page.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It
All
would
right.
cause a gang war.
It would. Yeah.
We've
Yeah,
not.
I don't say that, but yeah, I
we've
think
not
that.
taken these decisions lightly, Crom. We are well calculated in this, so it's going to be fine.
Oh well.
We understand the risks.
May the Great Father Astaire protect you. Good luck.
And you.
I'm
And,
praying to Jexel today.
well, I was just going to say, perhaps Jaxel could get us a couple of pints while we wait.
He pours you a couple of pints, tells you they're on the house, and
Great.
sends you upstairs with them.
Okay, so I think we drink here for the next 2 days. Maybe
Our
we'll
friends
have
are
to
just
go
gonna
home
show
to sleep.
up. That's what I'm telling you.
We'll have to go to sleep though. We can't be here all 48 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got our bodyguards though.
He's not gonna come at night. Oh yeah, we've got our bodyguards. I forgot about that. Cool. All right, so we hang out in the most secluded table of Rusty's Hook.
Yeah. And Rusty's Hook sometimes is popular, sometimes is slow. You know, it waxes and wanes. I just need a couple
New Year's Eve, though,
moments
I assume
to.
it's gonna be busy.
That's true. You send it out on you get it written on the 26th. You send it out on the 26th? Or you wait until morning and send it on the 27th?
No, we wait till morning. Send it on the. No, because actually, it's better that it gets delivered at night, isn't it? When he's
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
away from his guys. So
Okay.
we probably send it out on the night of the 26th.
Okay, so you send it on the night of the 26th.
So he's got until midnight on New Year's Eve. to
Got it.
respond.
Until the
Good.
new year. Perfect.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. So you've got 2 days waiting in Rusty's Hook.
So we know when the clock strikes, signaling that it's now the next year. That's his signal. That's how.
That's
Mhm.
the signal. Time's up. The clock's
Yeah.
literally ticking.
Yeah.
Okay. I need some dice now. We've got Angus Smelter. Not a dwarf.
Not
Not
a
it,
dwarf. A man.
sadly.
A dwarf would be unreasonable, so it's actually good that he's a man.
Yeah, true. We've actually got more hope of convincing him now.
Let's see. What are his stats? So he gets this message and he stumbles to read it, but he does read it. He's not that literate.
Yeah.
What is how much fear does this strike into his heart? Because it's a good plan. Hits at him pretty close.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. Now, can he come up with a plausible story on why all of a sudden he's freeing these prisoners that he's been showing off to everyone? Not.
He's gonna
his
have to.
int. Yep. He got a 23 on his int check. He can come up with a plan. What's he got for? Have a holiday here. Yeah. And how?
Every time he hears a ding, he gets a little scared. Ding.
Yeah.
All right. So it's Sunday, the 28th, last day of the year,
Okay.
the middle of the day, maybe high noon or just thereafter. The two of you are sitting in Rusty's Hook. A little bit quiet right now. It'll be full later, but right now everyone's, taking their disco naps before they go out for the evening or whatever
Yeah.
it might be.
We've got our bodyguards with us though, I assume.
Yeah, you got a couple of
Yeah.
bodyguards with you. They're complaining. They're like, hey, it's New Year's. Do we get a bonus? We're spending our time. We're not partying. We're hanging out with you instead. So come
Dwarves.
on.
Classic.
Yeah,
And that's-
we'll give you a bonus.
That's when Mr. Angus Smelter,
Oh, he shows up.
Oh shit! Yeah,
Comes to the bar. He comes into Rusty's hook. Not alone. He's got at least 20 copperheads with him. He's got like a posse of folks who are around him.
I would assume that the pitmen, when they see that many people come in, like to their territory, I'm guessing that there are fucking spies looking everywhere. That's cool.
They're openly armed, but no one's wearing armor except for Mr. Angus Smelter himself. He's wearing, a fancy, shining, recently polished breastplate as he steps on in.
I'll stand up. Hello, my lord.
Do they all come in with him, or are they like waiting outside, or like all 20 of these guys come into the tavern?
Yeah, I mean, you're sitting up on the upper staircase, and there's that like donut-shaped hole, so you can like see through near the front door. And you see the door open, and a couple of copperheads pop in, and some people nearby like they quiet down as they look on over. And as like the copperheads pour in, like in the middle of the group is Angus Smelter, surrounded by like layers of folks. And now there's probably people outside. You're just doing a rough ballpark of like 20-ish people. Maybe more outside, not quite certain. And Angus is, he's got a couple layers of folks around him as he eyes the room. And then he hears Pigeon's voice being like, "We're over here, my lord," or whatever it was you just said.
Yeah. Can I get a lip reading check on anybody in the either Grom? It would be my number 1. My number 2 would be Angus, if he's talking to anybody in like hushed tones.
You don't need the lip reading check because Angus is tight-lipped. He's not saying nothing. But when he hears you, he points at you, and then he just nudges the person next to him and starts walking towards a staircase. And a group of 15, 20, I don't know, start coming on in, and you can see some copper sashes outside the door, letting you know that there's more outside. And they come up the stairs.
All right, we look I'm feeling a little bit nervous.
I'm scared.
We hold on nerve here.
The other people on this floor, quietly get up and leave their tables. Clearly, you called to him, so everyone sort of vacates this section.
Yeah,
go into other areas to get out of the way. And he comes over to your table, leaving just one layer of men between him and you. He kind of glances at you. He sees you got 2 bodyguards with you. You're not carrying like an arming sword on you, but you probably have daggers or something.
You got daggers, yeah. My armor's off. I wouldn't be in here in armor.
Yeah, his men have
weapons,
have weapons.
Angus, you want a beer?
He gestures to his men. Take a couple steps back, and then he looks like expectantly at your 2 bodyguards.
Kick it.
Yeah. We send them off.
He comes over, sits at the table across from you guys, eyes you up and down.
Nice of you to let us host for once.
Reaches into his fancy vest. I'm gonna bring us to a map because I want us to remember what Angus Smelter looks like over here. I'm gonna make it look nice and big. Not a dwarf.
Yeah.
Never was a dwarf.
Never was a dwarf.
Yeah. Yeah, here he is. He's got this breastplate. He's got this like nice rod that he carries around, lacking some hair up top. Purple cape that he keeps, these embroidered clothes, looking like a real fancy man. Also big muscles, like he used to, can swing a mace.
Yeah, he looks pretty tough, to be fair.
Yeah. He pulls out from, tucked underneath between his breastplate and his armor, the letter that you sent him and puts it on the table. Now, I got this message saying it was from the 2 of you. I'm assuming you signed it. In what appears to be a bit of a threat.
Well, it's more nuanced than that, Angus, but yeah, that's about the up and down of it.
I'll look out the window and what time is it right now?
A little after high noon.
It's getting late. Wouldn't say it's a threat.
Yep.
Why? Why in all the heavens and hells would you be interested in sanctifying my temple? You got some copper blood running in those veins? I mean, maybe you, Pigeon.
I
Boy,
smile.
son.
I'll kind of lean in and whisper.
Because we both know it's not going to pass.
We've met Father Sanctimonious. No offense, mate, but one look at you. He'll be running for the door.
I thought we made it clear in the leather. Or are you having a problem reading?
Education in Copper Hill's not what it used to be.
We got a good relationship with the old town, the old world. Why would you want to ruffle the feathers, stir up any mess between our people and their ancestral homeland? I'm not coming around here disparaging your mother, perhaps.
Yeah. The thing is, Angus, you've got this all wrong. We don't want to do that. What we want is to let bygones be bygones. Call an end to this whole awful thing. All you got to do is, and I don't care how you do it, you know, I understand you need to save face, but let them go. Let them come back here. That's it. We won't send a letter. You'll never see us again.
We'll leave you alone. You leave us alone. We're square. If you need anything from us, we can help you out for a fee. And other way.
You've had my boys in that stockade now for months, you know? You've had all of your guys spitting at them, laughing at them, throwing shit at them, you know? You've had your fun, and I lower my voice. You and I both know that we're not going to be able to pay you back that money. So I say take the win while you can get it.
Shouldn't have taken it if you couldn't pay it back. Ah.
You must be new to this whole thievery thing. That's not usually how it works.
Yeah, it's not, is it?
No.
All right. Well, here's what we're going to do. The new year is upon us. New Year's a time for forgiveness. People to turn over new leaves. Your men, we'll give them a second chance. But I don't want to see any of you anywhere near me. You understand? Copper Hill territory, off limits. It is a no-go zone. You or your men come by, you start sniffing around, get the hint, just a whiff that you're looking into my places. We're not going to do this forgiveness no more. You're just going to
Yes,
not
sir.
wake up one day, right?
Capiche?
We
I
hear what
leave
you're
you
putting
alone.
down.
You leave me alone. We go our separate ways.
I offer a handshake. Fair terms.
He slowly reaches out a hand, shakes yours.
I offer mine.
Before I go to shake it, and then I pull my hand back and I say, though, although in the past, you've not always kept your word, Angus. You sure I can trust you this time? Don't want to make the same mistake twice.
If I betray you, you betray me. Right?
That's right. You'll always
right.
have the letter.
As long as we understand each other, and then I'll take his hand and shake it.
Shakes your hand. He shakes
To the
pigeons.
new year.
To the new year.
Happy New Year.
Now, this friend of yours in Copper Hill that's going to hand deliver this message. You can get to them before the sun rises?
Don't worry, we've got a wizard.
He
give him a
narrows
smile.
his eyes at that. That's an interesting statement. Would you make me a charisma check? That's
Because I did think
yeah.
that this is the only way we could realistically get word to this guy between now and the end of the day.
Well, you can hit Copper Hill if you ride.
You reckon?
I think so. But yeah, you already said it, so.
Okay, I already said it, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's-
we do have a wizard, so.
We do. It's not all fake. We have a wizard.
23.
I mean, we have a wizard. That is a generous description of your relationship.
It's true.
You know a
With
wizard.
Malchus.
I know.
You
a wizard,
you
yeah.
know a wizard.
I know a wizard.
But it's not too crazy to think that we could pay a wizard to send a message though.
Yeah. You got a 23 against his.
Oh, he is good at reading people though.
He is, yeah. But you,
Well,
I mean, you
yeah.
passed.
Okay. You know, you say you got a wizard, and he gives you like a but he doesn't say anything. He gets up and says loudly, well, I hope you enjoy your reprieve in the new year.
Thank you.
And heads back out.
As he walks down the stairs, I look back at Pigeon. That was sketchy for a while there.
I thought he was gonna kill us.
Well, cheers.
Cheers.
So I guess
Soon.
we wait here for Steel Team 6 to get back.
So this is also a big moment, I feel like, for us / Steel Team 6. We got Angus to come across the town to meet us. This has
Because
got to be
remember-
like a, yeah.
This all started because he wants to meet us, and
Yeah,
we
but he wouldn't
requested a
come.
neutral meeting, and he refused to come.
Yep.
So not only is this not a neutral meeting, he came to us,
Yeah. And as
and it
the copperheads
shows the
leave,
power of Barbara Ann's information as well.
For sure.
as he leaves, the rest of the Rusty Hook ne'er-do-wells pour in, and you find yourself surrounded by people being like, what was that? Oh my God, can I help you? Do you need, I've got this
No,
skill.
sick.
I'm the greatest
Yeah.
lockpick in the world. I can definitely do
No,
anything
that's
that you
me.
need. Yeah.
Oh,
And you've
cool.
got a,
So we just bought ourselves a bunch of prestige doing this.
Bunch of prestige.
Yeah.
Do any of them look like they'd be like the best fucking bodyguards, or are these kind of because that's
No.
what we need right now. We need
Thi-
muscle. Okay, perfect.
this is the up and coming recruiting
Yeah,
ground. This is
yeah.
your level 1 character
This
spot.
was already happening here anyway. We were already
Yeah.
getting swamped in Rusty
Well,
Hook, weren't we?
You had
This'll
people
pass.
before you would say, "Hey, I have a job," and people would come. Now people are just coming to you.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a very different vibe. You're gonna find that if you want to hire someone who's really good at something, it's gonna be expensive, and you've got to earn their trust over time. If you hire new people, they take some time to develop their skills, but you get them at a cheaper rate, and you get their loyalty early on. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you want to put in the time and effort to like raise up your own, low underlings. It comes with its own headaches. That might not be the vibe of this campaign, but I want to put it out there as one of the many, many tools at your disposal. It might be worth it for you guys just to make more money and then hire higher skilled people, and that way you can just hire them temporarily and let them go again. But
Yeah.
NPC management is a pain, but if you want to start getting some proper followers or something like that, this would be the place to do it. And
We're
as
definitely
we
getting there. Yeah.
as we bring in today's session for a close, we'll meet the rest of Steel Team 6 in the new year on the new side, on the other side.
Yeah. But we should
But
do
let's
some
do some
XP, I think.
experience. Yeah, I do believe we did experience last session. I think
Yep.
we've been doing it session by session now.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Yeah,
I
we
think we're
have,
going to
yeah.
try and we're in a new era of Insta XP.
So, all of your information buying and selling with Barbara Ann was fantastic. It's a new asset, it's a new resource, it's a new relationship.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that is worth 500 just for all the information buying and selling. The specific plan that you enacted worked out pretty well. She did feed you most of it, and you paid her for most of it.
Yeah.
But you did have to, finish the conclusions on your own and put together a nicely worded letter. And then handling the actual situation itself is worth 500 here. The big XP is the main quest XP, though. It's getting Steel Team 6 freed without anyone getting killed. So we're going to do... Getting your friends freed is worth 5,000. Plus a bonus for each person that got free. There are 4 of them. So then I'm going to do another 500 for each one freed. So that'll be another 2 grand.
Not bad.
So everyone got freed. No one died in the process. You neatly wrapped up these storylines. Like, how do we say? We didn't just result to killing this man and then running for the hills. We tied it up in a way that maintains power restrictions. You haven't, you've only improved your situation. You haven't created new enemies in the process. Yeah. And I like that. So I'm going to reward that with another 750. I like the bow that you put on this thing. Yeah. We didn't have any combat. And you asked about Barbara Ann's hands. We're going to come back to that in just a moment. And we're going to divide this between 2 people. Each of you is going to get 4,375.
Okay, nice. That's the most we've had in a while, which makes sense. Still a long way to go.
Yeah, well, at these levels, it takes a while to get anywhere.
I'm at 41,973.
Yeah, 37,507.
That extra 10% is.
Yeah, it adds up, but it's all right.
Yeah. Okay. Now, Barbara Ann's hands, Pigeon, what you
Pigeon.
noticed is that they are a little bit wrinkly, but like she has gone in there and added some like very gentle, like darkening into the wrinkles to make them seem more pronounced.
Yeah.
Her hands are she has gone to some effort to make them look older than they are, but they are old. Like there are wrinkles, but they look a little bit deeper because of careful makeuping.
Could be like a 40-year-old pretending to be like a 60-year-old, or something like that.
Yeah, something like that, or a 50 being pretending to be 70 or something, whatever.
I'll pass that on to Luther.
Barbara, she might look really old, but she's playing it up. She's got
smart.
makeup on her hands and stuff, yeah.
Really?
Which is information, actually, for us to use against her if we ever needed to.
That's true, although I'm not sure I want to get into that game. She
I
kind of
agree.
reminds me of the woman by the fire in Rusty
Little
Sock.
bit. Yeah.
What's her
Her
name again?
name started with an H.
Hudson.
Hudson, yeah.
Yeah. Who remains the one person on the second floor who didn't leave when everyone else was scattering.
really?
Oh, yeah, all the ne'er-do-wells
Interesting.
scattered, but Hudson just kept like chilling reading her book.
Did she even cast a glance? Just didn't even look up.
I think you guys were very busy.
Yeah, I
with
didn't
Angus.
notice her. Yeah.
Well, it's good to
Right.
know about Barbara Ann. Maybe that's another way to use the disguise. So maybe I should start thinking about something like that.
Because you put a bunch into disguise and you have high charisma to begin with. So, like,
Yeah. I've not
Yeah.
found a way to use it yet, but at some point it's going to be phenomenal.
when it comes, it's going to
gonna be great.
riches.
I'm
Well-
6,200 XP from the next level. which
Okay,
will
yeah,
be
that's pretty
huge.
good.
Yeah.
I'm 10,500. All right, short session today, but we are going to be playing tomorrow night
Yep.
Yeah.
as well. So yeah, we're back on the bandwagon, and I think we've got
For the 7th.
Floaf or Flow.
Fluff.
Floating
Fo.
Fortress.
I prefer Flofo, but we'll see.
I prefer FLOF. I agree with Neil.
Fluff it.
On Tuesday, so on the 7th. So yeah, cool. D&D's back on.
All right. That's it. We're out of here. Catch
Yeah.
you guys next time.
All right, see ya.